Ladies and gentlemen, joining me on the show, Callan The Rockstar Potter from what looks to be an alleyway, or are you in a car?
I'm just sitting out the front of the gym. I was almost going to try and do one of those talk and drive scenarios like
Frankie
like
Barker.
Frank Barker. But I'm nowhere near as skilled as that man, so let's just not do that.
I thought I'd quickly tap off on that. Like the wizard Frankie Barker in the jiu-jitsu world, you, sir, made a little bit of a comeback. Fusion Fighting Championship. We're going to talk about that. Combat jiu-jitsu. First of all, what was that like in comparison to mixed martial arts to jiu-jitsu? Like talk us through that.
So it was only combat jiu-jitsu. So Fusion Fighting Championships run by Big Mateo. Awesome show. I was so stoked to be on it. My match was just a gi jiu-jitsu match. So there was no slap happening, no slapping, grapping.
Oh, so did you not agree to the slapping?
Mate, I have got no one ever to get hit in the head again. As I keep pointing out, there's only so ugly one man can get. So I just did the straight jiu-jitsu with the gi wizard himself, Big Lincoln Hancock. It was awesome. It was awesome. I think anyone only just needed to see me walk into the cage just to see how happy I was. As I keep pointing out, I was happier than a dog with two dongers, mate. So it was awesome.
I see you came second.
I did. We had a sub-only match and went the distance. Then we had a golden point match, and it was awesome. Everyone knew the score there. I was trying to get in on his legs, and he was trying to pull guard, and no one got a point there. But quite rightly, they raised his hand at the end. It was a bit of a slow, but I just had, mate, I was so stoked to be in there. I was smiling from start to finish, so very enjoyable.
Did it get the competitive juices going?
I will 100% be back in there for some grappling, mate.
Yeah?
I'll do that till they throw dirt on me in the ground. Again, no interest in anyone ever smacking me in my beak ever again, but as far as grappling matches and that sort of stuff, I'll 100%. I did it mainly as a reason to get back into some sort of shape. As anyone knows, it works full time. Sometimes you finish the day of work, and it's pretty hard to get up the motivation to do something. So I got a little bit chunky, a little bit out of shape, and I thought we can't have that. So it did its job, and let's keep it going, I reckon.
Well, weirdly, as Callan Potter coming out of retirement, not going to even make the top 5 of today. But, mate,
I'm liking this already.
Hex Fight Series 27, the featherweight championship, Abdalla Biayda versus Kaan Ofli. Kaan Ofli is out with a torn ACL.
What?
Oh, yeah. Look.
Oh, my gosh.
But
that's already broken my heart.
I know, mate, but can I present to you the replacement, Kakembo?
He's replacing.
Kakembo versus Abdalla Biayda for the interim featherweight championship at Hex Fight Series, August 18th, Melbourne Pavilion.
Well, he's only just recently had a rebook, so he's been rebooked on the rebook.
Think about this, though. So think about this, right? Yep. First, Abdalla Biayda did not want to take an interim title fight. They've talked him into taking the interim belt because they're unsure of where this ACL tear will set Kaan. Will he be out for 12 weeks? Will he be out for a year? They're still not sure up until this exact point. Is it a grade 2 tear or what it is? But think about this, and I wanted to put it to you. This is where I really want your opinion. Kakembo, let's say hypothetically, like Abdalla wins, great, amazing, super fight. You have Kaan almost enter the cage. You set up Hex Fight Series 28 in November. Looks amazing, right? Let me paint a scenario. Kakembo wins. Absolute MMA Collingwood, Kaan Ofli. Absolute MMA Collingwood. They will not fight. No. So what happened? Like, this is the thing. Does Sem drop the belt, or is there like a Rashad Evans, John Jones type scenario? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, what?
Yeah.
What happens there?
That's a tough spot. That's a really tough spot. And this is a real hard one for Kaan because of the timing of this show. Everyone knows what's happening in Australian MMA in September. Big shows coming back. Like every man and their dog that can throw a punch is trying to get booked on a local show right now. So this must be a serious injury, like to do that. I got no idea what's up. Do you know who I think is almost the biggest winner in this whole situation, who's sitting back right now just with a big smile on his face? Justin Van Hid. Wow. Like, yeah, well, he's almost the biggest winner. Not that you want to take joy in others' misery, but yeah, like that doesn't. Man, well, don't do that to me. I almost thought you were about to say it was him. I almost thought you were about to tell me the Springbok was making his way down to Hex. I got no idea how it would have worked, but I might have just gone
Team of lawyers. Team of lawyers, yeah. Look, I still think, and I know that we're dreamers here, but I still think, let's say Abdalla takes out Kakembo. I think Kakembo will be a champion, but maybe it's just not yet. Maybe it's Abdalla's time, right? Maybe he wins, right? Kaan Ofli's out. We had the awesome foursome. We had Rod Costa, we had Kaan Ofli, we had Abdalla, we had Van Heerden. Two of them have been removed. One through a knockout, one through an injury. You're going to have Abdalla Biayda that could be the featherweight champion, and Justin Van Heerden, the eternal featherweight champion. That fight needs to happen, and that is the guy.
Where's Australia Fight Island? That's what we need. We need Australia Fight Island, international waters.
Look, I think personally, let's say, I mean, I'm not counting out Kakembo at all, but like that, and that's an interesting story in itself. You know, we both love the drama. I would just love for him to win the belt and for me to awkwardly ask them for weeks on end on what's going to happen. But let's say Abdalla is out. I bet my journalistic career that as much as Jacob and Hex don't want to let Abdalla go, they will let him take that fight. So if Eternal throws enough at it, you'll be able to get Abdalla versus Van Heerden
on Eternal.
Yep. So I think Jacob would almost and Hex would almost have to do a little service to mixed martial arts to let that one go. But then again, you've got the sense of, I don't know if Abdalla and them are on the best terms since they announced that Ethan Thomas fight and then that fell through and whatnot. So it's like, we might be stuck here, mate, like what we said, with this weird little, like, two split promotions.
Here's a question for you. And again, we're not counting out Sam. Like, Sam is a beast. He's every chance. But let's just go with the two guys that we already knew about. All right, that's the why we're going with this question. Who needs that fight more? So Abdalla gets the win, gets that belt. All right, UFC are coming down looking for a featherweight to fill in. Who's front of the house? Who's the front of the line?
Well, it's got to be Van Heerden because he's part of the Barbecue Boys. Like, he's part of like the Volkanovski team. So you're probably getting that look in over Abdalla, and that's just like not a political thing, but you're in that camp. You got Joe Lopez, like you're right there. I think Abdalla needs the Van Heerden. I think Van Heerden can sit. If I'm being honest, I don't want him to, but I think he probably can sit. I think Abdalla needs that fight more to get on the radar more. But if that's not the biggest fight in Australian featherweight history in quite some time, I don't know what is. Since
Volk versus Malaki.
Yep. No, yep. That's bang on. And that's only in retrospect.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's not like never have we had like what you've been around. In fact, you've been in it longer than me as well. What's been the biggest fight going into a fight?
As far as two guys,
like the hype, this is like number one versus number one.
Man, that's a on the spot. Yeah, I automatically start getting drawn to the guys that just fought everyone. Do you know what? One that sort of jumped to mind for a little bit was when Kit Campbell fought Matt Vale the first time. That was sort of up and around that. There's so many that didn't happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I'm close to it a bit. The biggest one that was going to happen that never happened was the Dan Kelly Steve Kennedy fight. That was just going to be huge.
Yes, that one was going to be massive. Steve Kennedy went on his AFC rampage or whatever after Manny Rodriguez and called out the country. Yeah.
That was going to be big. Geez, that's put me right. I'm trying to think now. There's so many.
And look,
so many.
That could be it. So in the world of the narrative, I mean, the behind the scenes narrative, I like Sem winning. I like Sem and Kaan, and I want to be in the fly on the wall when Simon Carson sits down with the team at Absolute MMA and goes, "Wait, boys, who wants to drop the belt?" But then
the journalist side of you wants that.
Oh, a bit of me does. But the fan of me, which outweighs the journalist side, is Abdalla versus Van Heerden in a car park. I do not care. That is as good as it gets, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, no, we're getting ahead, but just how do you see the Sem Kakembo versus Abdalla fight going?
Great fight. Again, you can't count Sem out. Sem is extremely talented. It just hasn't been as active lately. You know what I mean? That might hurt him, where Abdalla has been quite active. They've actually probably this period's probably been his longest inactive period for a good while, but still not that long. Sem likes to play that range. That's where he's best at, keeping you at range, hitting you with long, rangy weapons. And we again know that's where Biayda likes to play his trade good too. I don't, with the exception of maybe of Sem trying to mix it up, I don't see either of them really pressing for a takedown. I see this being predominantly more of a stand-up battle. And we're going to find out who's operating that range better in that first round. I think that first round is going to be a really big tell.
I mean, Steve Kennedy has prepared for Sem Kakembo before with Dan Molyneux back. I think it was Sem Kakembo's first ever fight. So it's like Steve's been watching him for a little while. So that'll be very, very interesting. Look, I'm very intrigued. Very intrigued by that. But mate, I also have some more.
Don't give me that. You're going to give me MMA diabetes. All right. This is just I can't deal with this. I need some insulin.
Well. Talking about old guys that are coming back better than ever, I do believe we are very close. I've heard through the corridors that Damien Brown versus George Soteropoulos could be a go for November.
For Hex?
For Hex.
At lightweight?
At lightweight.
Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah. I thought it was heading that way. That the weight was going to be the big one there. I know. Geez, I can tell you what. I guarantee Hex would have had to open up the purse strings for that one because Davey doesn't mess around. And good on him for doing so. So wow, that's a headliner. That's a headliner.
And as a man that has taken that phone call to potentially get in there, I believe, and when I spoke to Damien, the reason why it wasn't going to happen now was he couldn't get down. Like he wanted super weight, he couldn't get down super lightweight. But no, by November he thinks he'll be at lightweight. So I do believe that will be at lightweight. George Soteropoulos, Damien Brown, mate, who takes that one? That's
a great one. I was in contact with Hex. I've been in contact with Damien Brown too, actually. Him and I chatted a little bit. He chats to me. He pulled me aside at the last fight show and talked to me about his business structure. That man is far too smart for a man that's been punched in the head for as long as we have.
He's complete side note deviation. That man has, I would say, a better financial model. Like if we go from 5 years from now, I reckon Hex and Eternal need to gather around him because the way that man has organized the finance around Beatdown is incredible.
And his gym too. He was explaining to me the whole. I almost gave him my super and said, "Mate, just sort this out for me. All right, I'll get back to you in a couple of months." He's unbelievable.
Oh, he's insane. He's a businessman and he just knows what to do. And he wouldn't become, like you said, he wouldn't be coming back for no reason at all. He said he will never retire. That's the quote. He looks to be in best shape. If you chat to Paul Logar and some of his other base trainings, that he is apparently still getting in there and mixing it up with everyone.
Oh, nice.
I mean, you saw Soteropoulos with Togo. I mean, who wins it in their prime? Who wins it now?
Like, you can't go past what George got done. Like, George in his prime out-grappled Joe Stevenson. Like, you look at something like that, that's a huge deal. Kurt Pellegrino, and to some people that might not be a big deal. They're both elite-level black belts. You know what I mean? He certainly didn't look to the same ability. Again, like no one does with that sort of time frame off. He is going to be better for the run against Togo. different style of matchup. You know what I mean? He obviously doesn't have to worry as much about long snapping punches, but Damien Brown has got knockout power. He has knocked out people. He's knocked out people on the biggest stage in the world. And I would suggest when it comes to the grappling, he's going to be a little bit more denser with his grappling ability. So, you know, if Damien goes in there with an anti-grapple box-on game plan, you know, that's a tough one. George is going to have to be very smart with how he's setting up his takedowns because Damien can grapple his backside off too.
Nice. Now, mate, this is some bigger news.
You can't do this. You can't, mate. What is going on here? If you do this, I tell you what.
Look, let's move on over to the Eternal MMA lightweight division, specifically the champion. Quillan Salkilld has been sort of signed. He is fighting in the UFC at Road to the UFC in Singapore in 3 weeks.
Oh, my gosh. That kid's just talking about bursting out of nowhere.
Mate, it is. I was chatting to his manager earlier, Sean Shelby. Just they've had an eye on him for a while. It is I believe a 1-fight deal. It's as if you were fighting in the Contender Series. So I think technically, I think the pay packet matches it, but I think it technically isn't a UFC fight. It's a 1-fight deal with no promise of another fight. They are a filler bout for the road. So the Road to the UFC is like a tournament for Asia. And then on those cards, as they get deeper, because they're into the semi-final, they need fights to fill the card. So they've got Quillan in there, and he's going to take on, I believe, a Korean champion or something. Because obviously it's there to build the Asian viewership. So he's going to be there. I believe he has the blessing of Eternal, and he has stated that he will come back in October and defend the belt regardless. And I'm not completely concrete on this, but I do believe that the UFC has even signed off on if he fights and then they will allow him to go defend the belt and then they might bring him back.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
Our only test case with this, I believe, is Sean Etchell. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yep, I thought that might have been the case. Man, that kid just burst on the scene, and he's good. Like, let's not be overly surprised what he's doing because that kid's good. That kid's real good. Where's he at? Is he 4-1?
I think he's 5-1 now. I'll actually check.
5-1
right for you. Yeah.
I knew it was fresh. His only loss is to that Pablo
Terrialba in his original first professional fight.
Yeah, there you go. I knew I was at man. Jesus, he's just burst on. But good on him.
4-1.
4-1. Yep. Jeez, but good on him. Get in it. You're not going to turn these things back. He's going to make sure he makes the most of it. That's that lightweight division in Eternal. We called it with Becca and Martinez. We called that one.
So I think there was a bit of concern with will they just turn that Martinez-Becca fight into the lightweight championship fight. Yep. But I think it's one of those ones where it's like you go out and fight, win, lose, or draw, it doesn't matter. You assume it's just one fight at Road to UFC, and then you're back as the Eternal Champ, and the UFC isn't happening. Like that, I think that's how his camp's looking at it. Like it's just one and done. If he puts an amazing performance, they want to sign him, great. Type thing, but they're just planning for it to be one and done, and then he's back in October.
Back to work. Yep. God, bloody hell, good on him. Does that mean time frame wise? What, August, September? It's a bit close. It'd be hard to make that Martinez Becca a number one contender shot for October. It's a little close-ish, isn't it? Unless one of the boys comes out and just gets it done.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, look, and I was talking to here's another set. I was talking to Josh Togo, who wants to jump over to boxing, and I floated him versus Dan Hill in boxing. So like that looks real good there because they want that MMA rematch over in boxing. Apparently, a couple of boxing promoters like it. But I reckon that if that Martinez Becca one is a war, I reckon you could get Togo over for that fight. I reckon Eternal could get it done.
Yeah, he's not. Well, he's
October
not,
Perth. October Perth. You could do that.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. So what's he coming off? He had a no contest with George.
Yep. And then it's unfortunately we all see Josh Togo as number one lightweight type thing. I don't think he is. So I'll bring up his record now. He's number one.
I think he had a win over at
UAE Warriors.
Urban.
So he did UAE Warriors against Tahir.
Oh, that's right.
Who was 14-1.
Title. Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and then Robbie Lara at Urban Fight Night, and then before that, the loss to Dan Hill, which was a bit of a weird one anyway. It was like a slip of the canvas, it was a real unfortunate one. And then before that, Ben Wall, David Martinez, Dan Curry, like you said, cracker of fights.
I'll tell you right now too. I was backstage, and I think I was in the car with Ben when we saw all the ATT boys, and Togo was there. This is way after the show, and I thought, Togo's going to. He was so going, hey, happens. Like Ben was talking about the canvas, and he goes, mate, happens. He just wore it on his chin, no sooking, no complaining.
So you're saying Josh Togo?
I was really impressed with that.
Are you saying Josh Togo wore it just like that? Like just said, shit happens.
He's like, let's make sure we fix the canvas up, but didn't sit there and contest or say win it, but just ate it. I was really impressed with that.
Jeez, I mean, and look, we need to get him back. I don't care what's going on. I know the AT&T boys can be a bit rowdy backstage at times, but you need to set that apart. Fuck, just grab Ashkan, Suman, fucking Josh, and be like, look, just you three. That's it. Like that's all. Type thing.
I hope I get along really well with those two guys. And I
love them.
They can line and length because they've got a couple of really good guys. I'm going to go up against them in a couple of weeks at Hex with Ricky and Randall. So like I said, they're ripper blokes, and let's hope we can just keep everything on. Because again, it looks bad for them, looks bad for the sport. Let's keep it a little bit.
Yeah, and
a bit line and length so we can all get their work done.
Yeah, sure. Before I let you go, Hex Fight Series 27, August 18th, Melbourne Pavilion, Ricky Biechun taking on Randall Rayment. Can you just give a quick little sum up of what we can sort of expect in that fight?
It's going to be a great fight. Randall, he's one of those guys that's what this man was born to do. He was born to throw skinned up bones at other people. So he's super tough. Ricky's trained his absolute backside off. I'm super excited for that fight. Ricky's in great shape, looking sensational. He's leveled up again, which is always good to see. And then I'm sure Randall Ray's coming in there even better than he's looked as well. So I'm pumped. I'm really pumped to watch that fight.
Has Ricky been training with you guys?
Yeah. He just did some grappling with him tonight. I was just grappling with the big man myself. I don't know why I do these stupid sort of things, grapple with bloody heavyweights. And he was doing a whole bunch of bad positions tonight, getting some very skilled grapplers to start in some horrible positions on him and just pushing through. He's been going through some torture. He did some work with Sam Greco tonight as well, so he's in well and truly in good shape.
Jeez, mate. Well, I think we probably will not chat because it's gonna be a busy time until Melbourne Hex Fight Series 27, August 18th, Melbourne Pavilion. Side note: will you be at Demolition the next night with Wayne Carl?
I might not. I've been away a lot of weekends. I'm going to be away at that Hex, and I think my wife's about to throw all my stuff on the front lawn.
Yeah, my girlfriend.
I'll have to find out whether I'm going to be at that one.
My girlfriend's very similar. I had to extend my trip from Thursday to Wednesday. Like I had to bring it back because there's going to be a press conference for the Hex Fight Series 27, and then so that was hard enough. And then I had to extend it from coming back Saturday to coming back Sunday. So it's gone from a 3-day trip to like a 5-day trip because I'm gonna commentate the first 3 fights of Demolition because Jason Petropoulos is cornering some fighters. So I'm sort of like, I'm like, oh, hey, can I stay a little bit longer? So I'll be joining you, mate.
Good back, mate.
Yeah, it'd be me and you living in a motel just talking about Australian MMA.
Mate, these podcasts will get even better. So you're at Hex, yeah?
Yeah, I'll be at Hex.
Yeah, beautiful, mate.
I'll see you then, legend. All right, you're the best.
Stay well, brother. I'll see you soon.
See you later, mate.